What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I'm your hostess, doing the mostest, Keep on Chee, and we are here. AMC's Dark Wind, Season 3, Episode 8, finale, Iron Horse. Listen, I just want to apologize on behalf of Bernadette Manuelito for emotionally hijacking me last week to the point where I couldn't even do a full podcast episode. I literally had to just get on short form and just go off on her because I could not. There had been a buildup of this entire season. I am still confused as to how the writers took somebody who I enjoyed and made me dislike her in such a way. And I can't say that by the end of finale that I like her, because one of the last things that I see her do in this episode, I'm just like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Like, oh my God. MAP, most annoying player. Definitely Bernie. So we're just going to start with her because I feel like, let me just get this out of the way, y'all. So first and foremost, I'm so surprised that she's alive. Like, I was for sure that, Dark Winds would go the way of every other TV show out here and showrunner and just kill off a main character. But here we are going through the journey of Miss Bernie, and we see her in this episode drugged up in handcuffs in her car, and Budge is just like, girl, this was literally your fault. Like, all the choices that you made led you here. And I clapped. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I clapped a little bit because this could have been avoided. At least the situation that you're in right now could have been avoided. I'm not saying don't go after the bad guy, but girl, who knew where you were? Nobody except the crooked people who you've been traipsing and telling all of the things that you know to. What else did you think that was gonna do to you, girl? What else? So she in there, he buried her alive, probably right next to the dude that he buried alive at the beginning of this season. And she is feeling a little bit defeated, but something that she realized, I'm not even gonna hold her, like, this was really smart. This is her car. She knows where everything is inside of her car. So she ends up getting a crowbar and escapes. And halfway through, honestly, more than halfway through, he sees, like, right where the driver's side door was, that there was no dirt covering it and the door was wide open. So she ends up catching Budge off guard, and she had one of those metal, like, feathers. Looks like somebody, like, made a feather out of metal. And stabbed him in the neck. And I thought this was kind of comical because he was just like, it wasn't supposed to go this way. And I mean, sure, it wasn't. But, like, I guess this was Manuelito's, like, let me think smarter situation. I don't know. I am trying to tell her story with as, like, little exasperation in my voice as I possibly can. But, like, she got on my nerves. Anyways, Ivan showed up. And she's like, put your hands up. And he's like, girl, if I wanted you dead, I would have killed you. I'm actually here to help you. And she's like, no, I don't believe you. You and Garza. And that's when I found out her roommate name. I've been calling this lady her roommate this whole time. I did not know that lady name. So Garza and Ed, who is the chief, and he's like, listen, they wasn't going to approach you because they already knew that you wasn't on it. So she was like, oh, so you was sent to, like, sleep with me and woo me or whatever to get me in on it. He was like, girl, no, it was not even like that. I honestly didn't have nothing to do with any of the dangerous stuff that they're doing. They literally told me to just turn the other cheek. And I didn't even spend none of the money, girl. You and me can sail off into the sunset. Like, what do you say? Let me help you, help me, and we can all get out of this. So she's still kind of doing her little rogue thing. But at this juncture, it's like, you've been doing this by yourself and you literally almost died. So since you were just out here half-cocked, trusting random ass people anyway, you might as well just put your trust in this man one last time and see where it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then, shoot him. And if it goes well, then, maybe, y'all can do something with this. So back at L'Orange, Garza is there and she's getting all the drugs and everybody's situated. And before Ed gets there, he pays a visit to Spencer. And Spencer's wife, y'all, is Ed's sister. These mofos are related. And she's super sick and she's in some type of like private assisted living facility. And Ed's like, hey, bro-in-law, thanks for coming. Did you get that shit taken care of? Because I got plausible deniability. Like, ain't nothing finna come back on me, my wife, my son. Like, do what you need to do. And Ed's like, bro, just lay low. And he was like, excuse me, I don't pay you to give me advice. I pay you to be my handler, to be my killer, to take care of business. Okay, so get out there and take care of business. So Ed's like, whatever, dude, whatever. So he heads over to the ranch. He meets up with Garza and he's like, all right, bet. Let's hurry up and get the fuck up out of here. So everybody's rounding up. We got the white van, the infamous white van. We got the people in the back who they was trying to say like, oh, they weren't human trafficking, whatever. I still don't know the extent of their human trafficking because it's really just 3 people. I'm gonna get my thoughts on that at the end of this. But yeah, so they heading out and everybody's driving and Ed's, making his way downtown, walking fast, faces past, when Ivan cocks his gun at the back of his head because nobody checks the back seats. Like, what? And so Ed's like, boy, Munoz, what you doing? And he's like, wait a minute. No, for real, like, what are you doing? And meanwhile, a few cars ahead, the semi-truck stops. And Garza's like, damn, bro, like, what the hell is going on? So she gets out the car and she's trying to figure out, like, what's going on with the driver. And when she gets to the driver's side, he's, like, cocking his head to the side. And then Manuelito comes around the front and she was just like, bitch. She didn't say that, but she had her gun on her. And I feel like the gun said the things. And so Garza's just like, girl, I'm sorry, girl. Like, it was no hard feelings or whatever. Like, we just have to do what we have to do. We broke, okay? And Manuelito puts her guns away. And then she punches Garza in the face, which is kind of deserved, but also, like, nobody told you to trust her. I still put that on you. I put that on you, Bernie. Everybody's getting equal weight here. Like, that was literally your fault. She told you don't tell nobody. And the first person you told was somebody that was in on it. I don't have nothing for you. But anyways, the driver calls himself trying to get out the truck and do something. He got his little gun or whatever. And he's not really understanding that Ed is already held up at gunpoint anyway, right behind y'all. So he comes around the corner and Ivan ends up punching him in the face. And so they go through everything. They check. What they ended up having was like a false hatch. So they had like a hollowed out space where all the drugs were. But when she opened it the first time, if you remember, I think episode 2 or 3, when you look into it, you just see oil. And so there was like a door that all the drugs were underneath. And then the top part that you saw had like oil over it, but it was no depth. So the whole tank wasn't filled with oil. It was false. So everybody got busted, right? And so we head back to the station and everybody's going to jail. But it seems as though Bernie didn't implicate Ivan in the whole situation. And we see like a cutaway of Spencer still with his wife. So all we know right now is that Ed is going to jail, Garza is going to jail, and the 3 people who were getting trafficked and were working on Spencer Ranch of this whole situation are going to be taken somewhere safe. Yeah. Ivan is over there. He's like, listen, I never expected to fall in love with you. Is there any way that, we can make this work? Because you light up my life. And I'm like, Ivan, did Bernie go about this wrong? Yes. But sir, I need you to count your blessings that you're not in jail. Like, this is not the time, nor the place. What do you think this is, the movies? No, she doesn't just fall for the bad guy over some misunderstanding. Like, at the end of the day, this just ain't gonna work. Like, this is not gonna work. But you know what? I'm not even gonna hold him. I'm not even gonna hold him because shoot your shot. She done already slept with you. She done already showed that she lacks a little bit of judgment. So, you know, why not take advantage of that, you know, for a little bit or whatever. But Bernie ends up coming to her senses and she's just like, bruh, read the room. Okay. Meanwhile, back with Leaphorn and Chee. So at the end of the day, I already called it in episode 7. I called it in my short. If y'all saw it, I posted it on here. I also posted it on TikTok. The longer version is on TikTok. But Dr. Reynolds, he was the culprit, called it. Okay. Now, this is a thing that I genuinely hate. I hate so much. They told Teddy ass to go pack and leave town. Dr. Reynolds ends up finding her at the motel and she's like, okay, I thought you were supposed to be gone. And he was like, oh no, you know, I'm just here, you know, chilling like a motherfucker. And she's like, I know what you did. And it's like, girl, why would you reveal that you know what somebody did when you know he murdered somebody? I want this to not be written in shows anymore. I hate it so much. And this is not like a sum of all of Dark Winds. I just genuinely hate it. It's the stupidest thing ever. Oh, let me confront a known killer by saying I'm going to tell on you by myself with no help and no one around to hear me scream. I'm over it. It's dumb. It's dumb. So, yeah, Teddy finds herself deceased in the trunk of Dr. Reynolds' car as he pulls up to the train station because he has been tracking George. Now, everybody's tracking George. There's a whole stakeout at the train station, and George ends up getting on the train, and Dr. Reynolds ends up getting on the train too. So, obviously, Chee and Joe are getting on the train. Gordo is staying behind because he's trying to figure out, like, where the hell is train going. This is like the 70s. Ain't just no regular buildings and no stops. Like, they're going to the middle of no fucking where, y'all. Like, nowhere. It's literally rocks and trees and trees and rocks and rocks and trees and trees and rocks and water. If you know, you know. Only the nerds will know. Anyways, so they're on the train and Dr. Reynolds ends up finding George in like a crew bedding area. And there's like a whole shootout on the train. And finally, Dr. Reynolds heads outside. He has George at gunpoint. Joe done already like killed a man. I mean, he let the elements kill him, but you know, semantics. And you can see in his face, like he's not trying to do the same thing. Like he's literally trying to like get back to himself, get back to being this honorable Navajo man. And he eventually gets Reynolds to let George go. But you could see Reynolds looking at this gun, looking at Joe, and Joe's like, bro, just put the gun down, bro. Just put the gun down. Now, I thought he was going to kill himself, right? But what do most egotistical people do? They want to go out as martyrs, and he would be a coward if he kills himself. So he held the gun up to Joe, and she comes out of nowhere and like, pop, pop, right up in the chest, and George is saved, okay? So back at home, Emma is not at home anymore. And Joe is there with his father and he's just building a fence and he's trying to keep himself busy and not think about like, okay, this case is over. I'm not being haunted anymore. It was never a monster, but like your wife of 24 years is not there. And Agent Washington ends up pulling up. Now, Agent Washington pulls up and she's like, listen, I'm going back to the FBI. I'm going back to DC. And I ain't got no proof. But I know what you did last summer. Okay? I know. And while I understand, that's not how I roll. And so I'm going to leave you with a gift that hopefully gets you back to yourself. and back on the way of just being a good person. Because if you do not, I will find you and I will hunt you down. And she leaves him with a manila envelope. And what's inside the envelope? Emma's recorded interrogation. And she's talking about what happened to her and how she felt when their son died. And she talks about how she watched the deterioration of Joe and how he allowed the death of the son and the knowledge of BJ Vines being the cause of it to consume him and rip their family apart. And in the end, she says, I hope one day that I can forgive him, but until then, I will walk alone. And he rewinds it over and over and over and over and over until he's just stuck on the part where she says, I hope one day that I can forgive him. So there's that. Dark Winds, Season 3, Episode 8. Yo. Oh my God. It was a definite satisfactory end, but I also see some things that are open. One thing that I want to be closed though in season 4 is the relationship between Chee and Bernie. This girl drove back and she pulls up on Chee and she gets out the car and she's all smiling and shit. And he's all cheesing and shit. Bro, she just dumped you for a motherfucker that was a crooked cop, and all of a sudden she coming back trying to play all coy. Hell no. End it. Give him a new woman. Give her a new man. Let them be single. I don't know, but I don't want them together. End it. I'm sorry. I'm over it. It doesn't make sense anymore. I don't like the back and forth. This is weird. And it doesn't paint Bernie nor Chee in a good light. He looks desperate and she looks like she's spiraling out of control, just jumping from one man to the next. There's no sense of balance. There's no sense of being grounded in herself. What is she looking for? If we can explore that in the next season instead of this relationship, I love it. But if we start going into the relationship territory, honestly, I'm gonna roll my eyes so far in the back of my head. Oh my God. But what did Dark Winds ultimately teach me? It taught me to always tell people where I'm going. Because the theme of this season was literally people just doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do and not telling anybody where they were going. Was safety just not considered? I watch a lot of true crime and I watch a lot of cold case, a lot of forensic files, lots of cases that were happening back in the day. And at least it was oh, she told me that she was going to the library. Oh, she told me that she was going to the juke joint. People out here, they was just going places. Don't nobody know. You got these big radios, these big antennas, and yet you don't tell nobody where you're going, Bernie, because it's you. It's you. She was so lucky that anybody ever found her this entire season because her own safety was not paramount, at all. She didn't care about it. Didn't care about it whatsoever. Another thing for season 4, and what I was kind of thinking about earlier is Ed is in jail. Garza is in jail. But Ed's sister is married to Spencer. We didn't see no handcuffs on Spencer. So I do like that we leave space open for another storyline to continue to go into the new season while following up a new case. I'm really liking the beat of this because season 1 and season 2 seemed so different as far as focus until we got to the last 2 to 3 episodes of season 2, and that's where we ended up reconnecting the death of Joe and Emma's son, and now it became the overarching monster and the haunting of the Leaphorns. So to still have this open-ended area of the human trafficking, yeah, you busted them for drugs, but are they really finna just go to jail and not say anything? Spencer did threaten Ed that nothing would happen to them But can Ed give enough information to implicate Spencer without implicating his own sister when the sister is the reason that they became Spencer Ranch in the first place? Like, yeah, she's sick, she on her dying bed, but like, okay, the devil can die. Like, she's not innocent. Okay. So it's like, can we carry that over? And now that the whole BJ Vine situation is not necessarily looming over Leaphorn, and now that Bernie is back, we can really focus on what that looks like and what was happening. Because all of Border Patrol is basically in jail. It's literally Munoz. That's it. So we're still going to have to connect and regroup. And so I'm definitely curious as to what that could be. I don't know that I would like for Emma and Joe's relationship to be repaired in season 4, but I would like for the finale of season 4 to look like something of them coming back to themselves. Because Joe still needs to figure out his own path, and he needs to reconcile with his father who killed the priest who was raping them boys. So I feel like, yeah, they showed that to get him to have grace for himself, but I feel like we can't ignore, like, that is a huge thing. Like, we can't ignore that his father is a murderer and took justice into his own hands, and how that shapes him, the BJ Vine situation, and how that is the catalyst to the decline of his marriage. I don't see that being abandoned. I hope it's not abandoned. And then ultimately, I just look forward to whatever other indigenous, like, cultural things that I can learn in the next season. I thoroughly enjoy the history of it all. I enjoy the language of it all. I enjoy the authenticity imbued with the drama and with the fiction. Bernie got on my goddamn nerves, but I mean, honestly, like, everybody's giving such great performances. Super excited about it. I hope to hear a season 4 renewal very, very soon. And I hope it sticks with 8 episodes, or maybe get 10 next season. But to see its trajectory as one of the bigger shows on AMC right now. And I mean, one of the bigger shows that's standing next to Interview with a Vampire, right? In the whole, like, Walking Dead franchise, definitely stands on its own. And I'm excited to see what the showrunner, the writers, and the cast, and the overall storytellers do in the next season. And with that, I'm going to end this episode. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments in the comment box below. Listen, share this to AMC, y'all. Share it to AMC. Your girl's trying to get into the good graces. Ew. But for your audio listeners only, make sure you share the Spotify and the Apple Podcast link. You can also find me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I post so much other news involving film and television. You can also find me on TikTok, where it goes down. It's live over on TikTok at Chee, as well as Twitter at Chee. And with that, I will catch y'all in the next one.